So we did indeed start SmackDown by reminding ourselves what happened at Backlash before turning our attentions to the Queen and King of the Ring. That's just how wrestling works. It never stops, and we all stare off into the abyss. Also, hello, my friends, and yes, we're in the weirdest hotel room. I mean, look at this curtain. It's from like 1842, but given that the wrestling world, like I say, keeps on going, I'm going to keep on going as well. And we are only a few weeks away from these tournaments, so it's time to up those downs for WWE SmackDown and apparently smack our wrist. It's starting to hurt. Clearly we did want to start this Friday night off with a bang though, because out came DDP. Not true. I don't know why I said it. It was Cody Rhodes. I never in my wildest dreams did I expect this, but Nick Aldis was the guy that welcomed in. He was all like, Codes, you're doing so great. But we do have another PLE coming up, which always sounds like a disease. And I've picked your opponent, and do you know who I've chosen? Logan Paul. I was like, what the flub is this? What did he do to deserve it? Now at the same time, he is the US champion, so you certainly can weave these threads together. But also, why? Oh, now apparently it's so it can be champion versus champion, as Logan Paul was all like, we're in the Logan Paul Levesque era, so we can see what we did here, as he kind of insulted Cody by saying things like, do you remember when you won that Royal Rumble, and all everybody was doing about was talking me and Ricochet when we barged into each other. He also made it clear that he is the current longest reigning champion in WWE, and my word, I think he is correct, which also then equates to him being the biggest attraction in the company. I sat down, I did this maths. I don't think that one makes any sense. It also ties into the fact that when Cody Rhodes did indeed re-sign with WWE or re-debut with WWE, it was at the same WrestleMania where Logan Paul had his proper debut. So this story has nothing to do with Cody Rhodes. He's sick about hearing Cody Rhodes' story. It's his story. And on top of the Prime logo in Saudi Arabia, he will become the WWE Undisputed Challenge. I'm just going to tell you this. It cannot happen. I'm pretty sure Cody called him a dumbass, although he was then very nice to him because he was like, listen, I'm not going to call you a podcaster. I'm not going to call you an influencer. I am going to call you a pro wrestler because that's what you are. And also you went toe to toe with Floyd Mayweather. My hand went up again. I was like, did you actually watch that fight, Rhodes? I wouldn't say he went toe to toe. Cody also focused on the fact that Logan has a belt and he was like, oh my gosh, if I win that thing, I'll be a Grand Slam champion. So is this actually title versus title, meaning when we do come out the other side of the Saudi Arabia show, Cody Rhodes could be US champion? Because if that is the case, I tell you this, we're not going to get a proper finish and it's going to be shenanigans. Cody then did get mad at him because he was being a bit of a dick and said he's self-centered as they both did hoist their belts up in the air. So look, I'm not going to lie, it's really late over here and I'm so damn tired, so I can't figure this out, so maybe I did miss the obvious, but I do believe that whoever wins this gets both championships. Obviously, I'll be incorrect because I'm an idiot. Now, for some reason, I kind of feel like backstage Cody Rhodes would have asked for this because he just wants to work his way through all the challenges. And here's my weird take on it. If it had been any other pay-per-view premium live event, I wouldn't have liked it. But given that it is the Queen and King of the Ring, it's happening in Saudi Arabia, for some reason, I want to see this match. I don't know. I guess it's just so out there and so wild. And I do think it will be pretty good. Once again, we cannot have Logan Paul as the WWE champion, even though I do think by 2026 he will have that title, but I don't have to worry about that. That future Simon's problem, and just from an intrigue point of view, what are we going to do? I'm giving it up. I know I'm not. We then cut to AJ Styles, who was being interviewed, and this did kind of tie in. He was like, Cody, I would have beaten you in France, but I was distracted. I was like, yeah, right, good one. He's also mad that Logan Paul is now getting the shot, but everything is going to be okay because he shall win the King of the Ring and then he'll get back to the American Nightmare and this time he will beat him. So I tell you this, the King of the Ring tournament feels so more important than it has done in years because people like AJ Styles keep saying things like this. And now it really does feel like if you win the King of the Ring, you do get a world title shot. Good, that's how it should be. When we got into our Queen of the Ring matches, I'm a bit worried about Naomi. I mean, I'm not really, because she's going to be totally fine because she has the talent, but here she did face Nia Jax. And yep, as you probably guessed, Nia won. Now, we did make sure to give Naomi a lot here, which most people don't get against Nia Jax. Though to begin with, the bell went ding, 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 and Nia grabbed her and threw her around the place because she is pretty strong. Thankfully, Naomi had played the Batman Arkham Asylum game, so she just dodged when Nia Jax tried to crush her in the corner, meaning she went into Tina the Turnbuckle, and when she fell outside, Naomi did a dive. She's got all the 2024 moves. Sadly, Nia then slammed her with a Samoan drop onto the outside, and she is Samoan, so it is okay. When they got back into the ring, she headbutted Naomi, who then fell back out the ring. I was like, Jax, make up your mind. Thankfully, Naomi stuck to the same strategy here, so when Nia tried to sit on her, she just moved. When she hit a modified disaster kick for a 1-2-oo, and she got the split-legged moonsault. I never ever thought she was going to do what she did next, because she hit a Frankensteiner, and I tell you, it looked pretty damn good. Given that I only got a 1-2, ooh, that's when I knew what was going to happen, and yes, eventually Jax power bombed her, gave her the log drop, and hit her with the Annihilator, meaning she is going through to the next round of the Queen of the Ring, and she get even with the thing. I'm not entirely sure what my expectations were, but I did sit down afterwards. I enjoyed myself. I quite liked it. I'd take more stuff like this, and I'm giving it up. When Byron Saxton was with Baron Corbin, and I loved this, he is back on the main roster. He also talked about the fact that he went down to NXT to try and better himself when Carmelo Hayes walked in, and he basically trolled the guy. He thought it was hilarious that Baron got drafted in the draft off air when he said, you should be like Bobby Lashley, who has been forced to pull out of the tournament via injury. So he made sure we put that tease in there, so when Bob is good to go again, I really do think we're going to do that match. When we got to these two fighting in the King of the Ring, man, I don't know. I love Carmelo Hayes, and I think he will fly on the main roster, but this was Baron's first match back on SmackDown, and there's no way that he should have lost here, especially because these days fans are well more behind him. I think they've seen he's put in the work, and they want him to do well. But to do well, you need a good story. It also only went 6 minutes, which didn't help, and then you have everything with the Wolf Dogs, and we don't know what Bron Breakker is going to be doing on Raw. But if both of them are directionless, and we split up this tag team, well, I'm sorry, that's as stupid as me trying to grow my hair back. I'm just going to look even more bald, because you'll see all the hair, and then you'll see a hole. In short, maybe we shouldn't have split up the Wolf Dogs. Now, I'm not saying that Carmelo shouldn't be getting wins, because he most definitely should have. He was such a moron at the start of this match, because after he jumped Baron, he basically slapped him on the back of the head. So Corbin turned around and said, nah, man, that's not how it worked. And he punched him. Hayes then hit a clothesline and a face buster when Baron Corbin went for the deep six, and when it didn't work, he hit a DVD instead. I tell you, this is just Baron's new approach. He's like, yes, I've learned all the moves and I'm going to use them, and they all look super duper cool. It was then proper back and forth stuff, because Carmelo was able to hit the first 48, but when he went to the top rope to finish off, Corbin got out of the way. Man, he murdered him with a clothesline. He also basically hit this cutter thing to get a 1-2, but when he went for the end of days, we did the classic, and Carmelo hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, a surprise roll-up, and he got the 3. So I'm going to give them an up, because I do think they had good chemistry and I enjoyed this, but given the time of the thing, and we didn't really give Carmelo Hayes a proper win, because again, it was essentially a fluke. That's how WWE explains surprise roll-ups, and the fact we didn't have Baron Corbin win his first match back, which just made me sad in my tum-tum. Maybe I'm a fanboy, but I can't help how I feel, and you shouldn't be trying to change it, mother. What? I'm giving it a down. Bayley was then being interviewed and was all like, oh my gosh, there's so many good people in the Queen of the Ring. When Piper Niven and Chelsea Green walked in and were like, well, we don't like you very much. All right, then. I actually think we should do Chelsea Green versus Bayley, because that will be fun. Although here she was saying Piper is going to take out Jade, and maybe she'll win the damn tournament. I was like, yeah, sure. No, I love Piper Niven, but come on. Before we got to that match, though, we had an interview with Randy Orton, and he too was saying, I have to beat AJ Styles to become the King of the Ring, because especially in my storied career, I've never won that thing. So once again, this is the most important maybe it's ever felt, because all your top stars are going, well, it means something to me. Oh, and then remember that the Bloodline had taken out Kevin Owens when he went off on Tonga, meaning in the next few months, we're probably going to do Tonga versus Randy Orton. So it's another one of these matches. Just imagine I told you this even 6 months ago, you would have punched me in the face, and everybody would have understood. Jade versus Piper was next, and get this, it was really, really fun. Because it really was big women whacking women slabs out of each other, and even though Jade got the power game first here, eventually Niven was throwing Cargill around, and even smashed her with a senton. Then Chelsea Green was slapping her from the outside, so if you're one of these people that go, Jade, Cargill never sells, this is the match for you. She sold a lot. Piper then went clothesline crazy, but she forgot the rule of 3. When Cargill cut her off, when, my word, she hit the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the Blue Thunder Bomb. And while it didn't work, because it never worked, there's always an exception to every rule. And given that I never thought she'd do this, and 2, she did it on Piper Niven, so it looked damn impressive. Well, I'm right with this, and you can do it again. Cargill then went splash crazy, and she also went and punched Chelsea in the face because she was being a nuisance. But when she went for the Jaded, nope, it was never going to happen, and this was the tease. Instead, Piper cannonballed Jade, so once again, Cargill was getting her ass kicked. When Niven thought it'd be a good idea to go to the top rope, it wasn't. Jade got out of the way. She pump kicked her when she hit the Jaded, and man, that was such a good bump. Piper Niven really went up to this, and Jade got the 3. She's going through to the next round, and it gets a round of applause from me. Again, I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but this ruled up. Then got a video for Shinsuke Nakamura, as he said SmackDown will never be the same again, so maybe he's going to turn it into Raw. And that would actually make quite sense because all we do with Shinsuke now is lose, 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 lose. We need some kind of main event player, put Shinsuke in there, lose, 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 do a couple of really cool videos. Now, I really do like Nakamura, and I still do believe he's got loads to give, but I do have to give this a down because even though I did think it was pretty badass, it felt like we just rewound the clock 8 months. And, eventually all fans kind of cotton on to this. And I think it's just that time. As we went in the complete opposite direction to the last match. What was this? And I do understand that we didn't have much time because we were trying to fit all the matches onto SmackDown, but it was Candice LeRae versus Bianca Belair, and this went 2 minutes. Now, if it had been anybody else, fine, I totally get it, and Bianca Belair is a super duper star, but given that Candice has only just turned heel, she has to get some wins, otherwise you're like, why did you become a bad guy? You're nothing but a chump. It got even funnier too, because Indy Hartwell was interfering here too, successfully, and we used that to take out Bianca Belair's leg. I don't mean for lunch, I mean Candice went after it and went smack, 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 so she had no walking device, but because Bianca is essentially a superhero, she hit the KOT, even though she lost the limb, and like I said, really quickly she got the 3. Now look, do not get me wrong, Bianca should have won here, because of course she should have won here, she could win the whole tournament, that would be fine, but I think we should have given Candice and Indy a little bit more than this. They just gone through a character change, and they're in exactly the same position. That doesn't make any sense. That is 2 + 2 = potato, and that gets it down. The new bloodline we're here next, or the Nublin. That doesn't work at all. Sounds like something you could have on your chest. Paul Heyman was talking to Solo Sikoa though, and Solo was livid how late the Bloodline were drafted, especially because as far as he's concerned, he's putting money in Paul's pocket, and what for? He's not doing anything. Solo also made it clear that he had seen that footage from the pay-per-view premium live event when Paul looked at Jey Uso, and he wanted to know, was this some kind of secret single? Are you worried about me? And Paul was like, that's not true at all. When Sikoa dropped a right bomb, he said, well, you may have not talked to Roman Reigns since WrestleMania, but this guy has. This is why he is the brand new leader of the group, because apparently Roman had signed off on this, or that was the insinuation here. Not necessarily sure I believe Solo Sikoa, but don't tell him, when all of a sudden he turned on a dime and he was like, I love you, wise man, and he gave him the most serial killer hug I've ever seen in my life. You just know at some point though Roman Reigns is going to return when Paul Heyman is about to be beaten up and make the save, and he will become a mega babyface, and I just think WWE have done so well with this faction, I can't get enough of it. You're damn right. There is the power of ups, and therefore it's getting an up. I meant to say finger of power. I really need to get to bed. Britney Spears must have booked the next match too, because we did it again. This one at least made a little bit more sense, because it was Tama Tonga taking on Angelo Dawkins, because yes, Bobby Lashley was in this position at one point, but he has got injured. I'm not sure whether it is work or shoot, so I hope he's okay. And this one also only went 120 seconds, but it makes way more sense. Ever since Tama did debut, he has been booked as an absolute wrecking machine, so if you want him to beat somebody really quickly and make his way through the damn King of the Ring tournament, well, you should. It's only going to help him. He's a star. I really do like Angelo Dawkins too, and I think he's got so much better over the last couple of years, but he is predominantly a tag team guy. Although here, he really did beat Tonga up for a while, and the only reason he actually lost was because of the bloodline. And Angelo was so mad that he even punched Solo in the face when Montez Ford was like, oh, I didn't know we were allowed to do that, and he dived onto the group. But that was a massive mistake, because then they went and got him, and they gave him the spike. Well, Solo took his thumb and he poked him. Either way, it's bad. It also allowed Tama Tonga to hit a version of the stun gun and get the 1, 2, 3. It was like a jumping face buster. And the only thing I didn't really get about this is, again, we are pushing Tama as if he is an absolute person we should be scared of. So I'm pretty sure he could have just won here. But look, the massive key was that he did get a win. I just think I would like to see him in longer matches because he is really good. As a small personal side, I think it's so cool that Tama Tonga has made it to WWE. Obviously, I never said this because he tried to kill me, but he is a super duper good dude. I am going to give it an up. Keep the push going. We then learned that we were going to get a Logan Paul Cody Rhodes contract signing next week, because what else what we do when we got to, ironically, a phenomenal main event. Because it was AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, so they were never going to have a bad match. But once again, they just gave such a damn about winning that when we do get to this next premium live event, you are genuinely going to believe that whoever is victorious could go on to become the world champion. I say this too knowing that Randy Orton was going to win, just because WWE does see him as a bigger star. But this AJ, he keeps going on saying, I know my retirement is round around the corner. Well, he must have a few good years left, because my word, he's still kicking ass. Orton also punched AJ for a while here, because why get complicated with these things? When Styles basically slid into Randy Orton with a knee, I was like, I don't know where that came from. It was like Street Fighter. Orton fought back using Barry Barricade and Ali and Helt's table because he hates our ringside friends. And he started bowing to the crowd. This is when I was like, man, Randy, I just love you. You have so much fun. It feels like I'm allowed to have fun too. AJ got so sick of it, he started going after Randy Orton's legs. Of course, Randy is so tall and he thought he could floor him. And when they were fighting in the ropes, do you know what Orton did? He just booted Edge to the outside and he took a horrible tumble. I mean, that can't have been fun at all. Though they went for the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but instead Orton just hit him with this massive uppercut when AJ decided, well, I'm going to hit you with a phenomenal forearm. So Randy, with all his experience, just wiggled the top rope and AJ did fall down. I was like, wow, that was really smart. This then went wrestling tennis with Styles getting the upper hand as he did apply the calf crusher, and again, he had been working on the leg, but Randy is so good, he basically turned this into a rear chin lock, and when Styles got out of that, he hit the power slam for a 1-2. Ooh, these two just ruled. Styles responded in kind because he ducked the RKO, even though he had been hit with the draping DDT, when he actually went for the phenomenal forearm, and he got it. So I was like, well, he has to get the 3. You're not going to tease this twice. And he did, but just before the ref's hand hit the mat, Orton grabbed the ropes. We told the story here. AJ did have him beat. He just didn't think about positioning. It also sort of tied into what was going to happen next because AJ pretended he was going to hit the Styles Clash, but I don't think Randy in real life would want to take that. He made sure he wiggled jiggled with his hips when he hit the RKO out of nowhere. We got the 1-2-3. SmackDown went off so quickly. So I guess that kind of explains why we did have these short matches. Maybe they were just pushed for time. It was just good wrestling though, and it moves Randy one step closer. And again, he's Randy Orton. He could flubbing win. You should go out your way to watch this. It goes about 15 minutes and it's a total laugh riot. Just getting it up. Which brings us to the end of another episode of SmackDown. I am going to get it an up, mostly because I love the dedication that we are giving to the King and Queen of the Ring. And whoever is coronated, please don't turn them into a goofy character, even though I love goofy wrestling, and let them go after a championship. And maybe with one of them, have them win the damn title, because what will that say about next year? You should pay attention. Up. Also, make sure you do leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about this show. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Dynamite, because we support all wrestling here on the channel. Otherwise, I do have to go to bed. It is actually 20 to 3 in the morning. So don't you send me your tweets going, Cyber, you phone it in. Maybe sometimes the videos suck. That's probably true, but I don't phone it in. I'm trying, damn it. And I do appreciate your support either way. Take care, my friends. I'll see you on the next one.